Welcome to listening to Paint Dry, the live stream. We're a podcast about the art and hobby of miniature painting. I'm Mike.
I'm Dev.
And I'm Dan. Welcome to another installment of our Thursday night listening to Paint Dry. How's everybody doing out there? Well, since it's just me and you guys, how's puppers? Let's start with that, Mike.
Star is doing okay. We're still he's on medication to hopefully stop keep the bleeding at bay. Um, and yeah, we're just kind of taking it day by day. He's still pretty active and happy, and he's a very sneezy dog. So, every time he sneezes, or everybody kind of has a heart attack, we're all worried. But, fortunately, so far, so good. He's had a few epinephrine shots up the nose to help with any bleeding and such. And he's on some Chinese herbal medicine, um, which
That's going
apparently
all out.
before we knew, before any of this happened, had never heard of this stuff, but apparently this Union Bayo stuff is pretty popular, and it seems to be doing what we needed to do. So, we'll keep moving along, and so it's just hard because it's hard to commit to anything for a weekend, because we just don't know what's going on. He's a big, beautiful 12-year-old boy who is Labrador, Great Dane, and Belgian Malinois mix, and so we're just gonna keep enjoying him while we can, because I'm sure he is pretty close to me right now. So at some point you will hear snoring in the background. That is him. He is grade A professional snorer, and I know Deb has had the unfortunate side of sleeping below in the basement here, and if he is laying on the floor in the kitchen or dining room, it sounds like a train coming through the house when he's laying on the floor snoring. It is both a audio and a sensory perception because you can kind of feel it. But thank you for asking. I appreciate that.
I finally remembered to
So,
hit start recording, so I'm going to have a local recording of most of the episode.
really? No, we've been on the whole time, right?
Streaming, yes. Local recording, not so
Oh,
much.
not recording. Okay.
Because
That's
Mike
all
didn't
right. We
remind
just,
me. Like, I forget if Mike doesn't remind me, so,
that's
I
all
didn't
right.
remind you.
At this rate, it's not like
It's
they're going to be
okay.
put on the podcast anyway, right? Because Mike is working on all
All I
those
can,
commissions. All those extra
all I can,
commissions you probably picked up this week.
I have not picked up any. I am actually delivering tomorrow. I saw a couple of
Hey,
things on
a
this Mr. Black.
spiky butt plug.
No, this is from game. This is the Game Envy one. This isn't a butt plug.
Oh, then
Love me the
that's not
Game
the butt
Envy
plug.
ones. I have a couple of them. They're
Yep.
great.
Well, what's really
Kit's
funny
awesome.
about the bases for the Blood and Plunder miniatures, they don't fit into either of the GW butt plugs. Like
Are they
they'll
small?
fall. They
Too
don't.
small?
They're just a wee too small. Like they fit in, but if you put any pressure on them, they'll fall out.
Yeah.
Oh, that
And
sucks.
yeah, and so I kind of had to switch. I really only used these for the characters. Um, and I noticed a couple things on Blackbeard that I thought Blackbeard was done, but I just have a couple of things. Like I was using gloss varnish to cover over a mold line on his leg that I missed, and I forgot to varnish it. And I just want to bring up the red highlights on his. I have like 20 minutes worth of work left on him, and these will be all the commission will be delivered tomorrow, and I will be paint shopping at Dutch's place so I can replace some of the paints that I burned through, because apparently I only had 2 gold paints, and I pretty much used the entirety of that on between the Pirates and the Lord of the Rings guys. So I need I need gold paint.
Hmm. Don't
I
forget we
literally
have.
had to go ahead.
No,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, what you said, the swap meet?
Yeah, but we don't have to talk about that right now. We can talk about it later. It's no big deal. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. No, that's all I was going to say is that, I just have, I'm looking forward to being done with it. And uh, I got offered another commission and I said no. So, see, I'm a good boy.
Malarkey. I don't believe it.
As I recall, you said not right now.
Well, that's fine, but I also said no to the new ones, and I'm gonna be honest. I only painted for 3 different people, and one of them passed away, so I'm not painting for that person anymore. Kind of
All
cool as that would
right.
be to come back from the grave and be like, "Paint this for me." I think I would say yes to that. I would say yes to that commission.
Mike, I don't like this blending.
The ghost of
The
Minnie's
tabletop,
past.
really.
All right. So today, what are we going to talk about? Um,
How
well,
much everyone loves commuting.
yeah. Well, since some of us in the listening area are getting notices to go back to work or get back into offices or reconnect with your old coworkers in person, and that takes a considerable amount of time and space away from how for a while a lot of people been able to do their hobbying while they're working. I mean, I would really say that out loud, but I'm sure that it happens. It's theoretical. So it made me think, um, if we have less time in our lives, how do you all um, find time to do your hobby? Either it be video games or puzzles or painting or building or 3D printing. Um, because some people probably don't have that much time anymore. So
Um,
I'm opening it up to you guys, or I can start with a couple ideas or something.
yeah, go for it.
So the easiest way I think is probably to set time on the side and be very deliberate about your hobby time by setting some sort of schedule and trying to be realistic that you have other things going on in life. You have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to commute, you have to go shopping and wash your clothes and wash your cars. You have to listen to good music and play video games. And you got to try to fit that in there. And maybe you have to split that up or allocate different times. Like, hey, on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I paint, and Fridays, I watch movies, or Saturdays are family time, something along those lines. So, um, if you are painting, having an adequate amount of time, and I think we've designated that to be 1 hour a day. I don't know if you have enough time to do that or not, but if you were to set aside 1 hour and pick a day or multiple days, I think that would be a good start to at least you can try to find that time in your schedule. Maybe you're lucky enough to have shorter work days. Maybe you have an extra day off here and there. Maybe you can fit it in it that way. That would be my first thought.
Yeah. Well, as predicted, I am pretty sure that this stream is going to be unwatchable based off of the feedback I'm getting right now.
Cool.
So this is going to be fun, but we do have a local recording, so we can at least get the recording up after the fact.
Well, part of it is recorded.
Most of
apparently.
it. We'll
Do we have anybody on the stream?
there is someone viewing. I don't know who it is because I haven't seen anything in chat. But if you wanna throw yourself into chat and
Are you viewing
let us
also?
know what
'Cause
you
I'm
do.
viewing. Maybe we're both watching.
Or maybe we're just watching ourselves. This is
Yes.
yeah, just rocking those egos. I think in the case of Mike, the solution is to basically start a live streaming podcast, and then you've got an hour every week to paint in. That's what I'm getting from Mike today.
You're one to talk. The number of times you've painted on stream.
That's fair. That is totally fair. I'm.
And is there a problem with it, Dev?
There's no problem at all. Sneaky Pete is in the chat. Sneaky Pete says the stream is working fine,
Pete?
so I appreciate
We do have
that.
a viewer.
Yeah, hopefully it continues working fine because the yellow flashing alerts on my OBS are telling me that it definitely is not. which I kind of knew was going to be the case going into this, but we'll slog through it.
If somebody would have planned a little better, we wouldn't have had this problem.
Yeah, I wonder who that might have been.
I don't know. So here's the big thing for me with hobby planning. I'm terrible at it. I'm terrible at time management, as I have confessed a bazillion times over. And so it's a matter of like I will say I have definitely for the last 3 weeks painted at least an hour a day. Most of it has been in the evening. Changes and stuff like that aren't going to affect my painting that much. To whether or not going into work or not. Only that I now have a longer time from the end of work to where I would get to be able to paint. Or if at times I woke up in the morning and painted a few hours before I started work. Those have now been lost to the commute. And so, yeah, I'm usually pretty busy, so I don't really have any fun downtime, especially the last few months. And it's only getting worse as there's less and less people to do the same amount of jobs. And so, yeah, I'm fully prepared for that. Honestly, you got to commit to it, and it's hard to do it. And the number of times that I'm like, I'm gonna paint, and then I sit there listening to music and don't paint and just listen to the music and such like that. I can't. I wish I
Sometimes,
could say it was a rare occurrence. Go ahead.
well, sometimes you need to do that. Just listen to music or just chill and decompress, man. There's some really hard jobs out there, and it takes the life out of us and the commutes and all that stuff. But I'm jumping ahead a lot, I think, here because well, actually, I'm gonna let Dev go ahead and give his little thing because I wanna parlay this over to what Mike was just saying.
Yeah, so for me, I mean, like my return to office kind of happened about a year ago, and my painting has massively decreased in volume in that time. It decreased when I took this job on because it's just a much more demanding job than my previous one was. But also, like, this isn't entirely new, right? Like, I mean, we did used to go into offices regularly, and we still managed to get some hobbying done, right? It was a luxury that we could get way more hobbying done during the pandemic, but the reality is, for me, there are a couple things. I'm a morning person, so I usually, historically, I have set myself up to get up an hour earlier to get an hour's painting in before I head into the office. My commute is long enough that is quite challenging, so that means that I'm getting up at 4 a.m. instead of 5 a.m., which is an unpleasant time to get up. But that is one way of doing it. In the evenings, for me, it's more likely going to end up being the rare day I don't go in, or the weekends, and just trying to get more painting in that time, or at least some painting in that time. But I think the other thing for me, and this kind of speaks to your point about music and stuff, I will often put like a TV show or something on that like I'm familiar with it and I don't need to watch it, or something on audiobook or podcast or whatever. But the thing that will actually get me to paint is having spent some time beforehand thinking about what it is that I want to do next on a particular model. Like, so at the moment, for the guys that I have sat on my table, I know that I want to do all of the trim pieces brown so that I can get ready to start building up the NMM on those. And when I was actually much more disciplined about this, what I would do is, kind of in the evenings when I'm getting into bed and winding down and preparing to go to sleep, I would just think in my head, okay, well, this is where the figures are at. These are the things that I need to do next. What do I feel like doing in the morning? I'll do this or I'll do that. And then when I get up in the morning, I already have in my head, okay, this is what I'm working on now. And having that ready to go means I don't just sit there thinking, oh man, there's a lot of this model that still needs doing. Okay, what am I going to do? Because that's where I start dragging my feet and maybe not getting into it and being like, well, I can just turn on YouTube or something and watch a bit of YouTube and duck out of it. So that's a big one for me, I think.
I have a question about this.
Yeah.
Have you thought about it before you've gone to bed and dreamt about it, and then woke up convinced that you had already done it?
No, I never remember my dreams.
Ah, that'd be awesome. Be like, I thought I did this.
Yeah, no. That I mean, I guess for people who do like remember their dreams, maybe this is not such a good plan, but that is not an affliction I have. So it's just, I'll think about it before I go to sleep. I'll wake up and I'll be right. These are the things to do. So yeah, that's my general strategy. My output has, I mean, actually, like over December when I had a bit more time, I definitely got a lot more done probably than the whole of the rest of the year combined. But yeah, it does suck, right? Like, commutes eat up so much of our lives. It's not like we're getting paid. It's not like we get to do fun stuff. They are just a colossal waste of time.
They are. No, but that's a pretty cool thing about setting some sort of goal. Like, hey, I want to do this when I get home. We're thinking about it. Some of us get in those traps where you're trying to figure out what you want to do and you just keep planning and don't get out of this planning stage. I don't do that then.
I think
I just don't even plan.
I think Sneaky Pete has just named my my methodology as Paintception.
Paintception.
Yep.
There you go. He's claimed it, or we can claim it for him.
Well, it sounds like a class that Dev needs to teach.
Paintception. Yeah, maybe.
There you go. So when you're going to sleep, think about what you're going to do, and you wake up in the morning and then you do it.
Yeah.
I do that all the time, but I always forget by the time I wake up. And it's lost to the ages.
So maybe you only dreamed that you planned, and then you forgot about the dream. Like that.
I did, yeah.
I don't
could have
know.
done that
Maybe.
too.
So it's interesting that you say that, because that's honestly when I get into ruts and can't, like, I'm feeling uncreative and that type of stuff. I literally will sit down and be like, okay, I'm gonna paint this boot. Even if that's the only thing I paint, I'm at least gonna put a base coat on this boot and see where it goes. And usually, it may not solve the entire rut, but I more than likely will not just paint that boot, but it at least is something. You know what I mean? It's some motion forward in the hobby.
Yeah.
So I'm so worried about the sign coming up, so I keep like cutting, like stop, kind of harshly stop talking. I know that sign's coming. Sign. There's a certain sign that sign.
All of the viewers have no idea, because I don't think I've actually used it on a stream yet. So we're gonna have to build that one up for a few weeks and then set it as like surprise everyone with what this mystery sign is that Dev holds over Mike's head.
Right, and you're gonna have, by the time you actually use it, you're gonna have it all like printed out nicely, and it's not just gonna be handwritten.
It'd be printed out by next week. Just ready for you.
I'll need to like rig up some party poppers and stuff and just be like, "Ta-da!"
You have to do a video. That'd be a new intro. And we'll have to have music and everything for it.
I don't like the direction this is going. Okay.
I'm loving it. And Pete's like, man, what are they talking about?
So I think Dan had a follow up to this before he started.
Actually, it's for, and I forgot where I was trying to go with it, but Mike, you were talking about how you were trying to make time to get your commissions done. So when you don't have a whole lot of time to paint, how do you think it'd be different when you're painting a commission versus when you paint for yourself?
There's two different things hanging over your head, right? The commission is somebody's money, and the for yourself is just personal gratification. And so there's kind of two different types of pressure. There's some similarities because you still want to do a good job with the commission.
Mhm.
And so that I always feel like that kind of more sucks the life out of you. And I'll throw in there's a little bit of a difference too with the deadline uh for like painting for a competition. Like, you know, if you have a personal project or a personal project that you want to paint for a competition, the one for the competition kind of feels more like a commission, right? You have a deadline, you have a level of expectations that you're trying to meet. Um, they're they can be soul sucking. You know what I mean? They're
Mhm.
really hard to focus on if you only have very limited time and your mind is on another project that you would rather be painting. It's really hard. You just gotta, I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, you just gotta buck up and do it.
But don't you think they feel different though?
Yes, they do feel different. Oh, like yeah, all three of them have a little bit of a different feel
Mhm.
to them.
Yeah,
Um,
you know, I didn't even think about the competition piece because that, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot of stress also, and it's the stress that you're putting on yourself rather than
Yeah.
trying to do it for somebody else.
In my mind, there's a
Um,
fourth category, and I think you left it off, Mike, because
Ooh.
this isn't really where you're at. But for me, the fourth category is gaming pieces, because in those instances, it's not quite that I'm painting it for myself. And yeah, I mean, sometimes gaming pieces you may be trying to get them ready for a tournament, right, Dan, with those battle tech that are so beautifully painted. But you know, oftentimes you're just painting gaming pieces to have them painted.
Mhm.
You're not necessarily looking for the same degree of artistic inspiration that you might be for something you're doing yourself or for a competition piece. You're looking to kind of get them done, but at the same time, you're not facing a hard deadline. I think painting up pieces for a tournament is very much the same category as commission, but painting stuff up, gaming pieces up for yourself, it's much more of a jobbing kind of task. It's just like, you know, you go through the motions. Maybe you're matching box art or something. You're not thinking about it in quite the same way. You're not going for composition. You're not looking at triads or,
Mhm.
you know, color contrast particularly. You're just like, you know, this is how the army is, so these are the things that I got to do, and the face has got to be this
Mhm.
color, and the beard's got to be this color, and the, you know, clothes and the armor, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, that really, boy, we have almost a whole different kind of conversation just about that, about different reasons
right.
why we paint. I mean, if you are trying to get ready for a tournament, you know, maybe you're hiring a commission painter to do that for you if you need to, because you don't have the time to put it together, or you just that's not the hobby that you like. You like playing games. That's your hobby. Painting is not. Um,
Right.
so you obviously don't want to spend the time on that, and your thoughts are definitely different than someone who likes to paint for enjoyment that doesn't want to put things out there for competition. Maybe they just want to throw it up on their wall or on a shelf, something like that. So we all have different goals, and then and how do we find the time when it becomes more limited? And I don't want to say it was just a, you know, I know we all were joking around because beforehand we were talking about jobs and the commutes and everything. But what if you have, you know, new kids, new fathers and moms that enjoyed a hobby, and now you have a little one to take care of, and if you don't have little ones and you end up that, I mean, those are long pauses in the hobby for me, years of not touching stuff, and it's kind of normal, you know. And maybe you find a different hobby or find something else to fill that outlet for, you know, keeping your brain sane,
Yeah.
being,
The
you know.
the new parent hobby is sleep, like sleeping
Yes,
whenever you can.
which
You
is not a
know,
joke
no,
for all you one person watching. That's if you don't have kids, yes, that is not a joke. You will want sleep, lots of sleep. So, what other kind of
yeah,
ways can we try to um, a, a find time to have an outlet, or what is it that we can try to do to help us enjoy or get through our three commissions or our army painting? Besides, what if we don't have a whole lot of time? What else? Is there anything else out there we could try to do or incorporate?
sacrifice quality. No, I'm sorry.
Hey man, we both know that you just don't, not family time, but you definitely sacrifice something that's usually sleep.
True.
I
True.
I find,
Um,
I mean, I kind of come at it from a much more logical, less emotional place than I think a lot of artistic painters do. For me, like having that structure, having like the task list kind of project structure, it helps a lot to get stuff done because I'm like, okay, well, now that I've broken it up into smaller tasks, I'm like, well, okay, well, even if I just do one task and it only takes 5 minutes or 10 minutes with setup and breakdown or whatever, right? Like I can do that, right? So let's do that now. And then I'm not just like kind of being overwhelmed and thinking, okay, well, all of this stuff needs doing and I really don't have time tonight to get this done, right? Like I mean, these guys that I'm working on at the moment, I literally started painting them in 2017, 2018 maybe. um, they're still not finished, right? Like, I mean, I got them right as soon as they came out, and they're still not finished. But every time I set down to work on them, a little bit more gets done, right? And yeah, okay, they lived in a drawer for 2 years, 3 years, 6 years, but there's still progress being made, and now I'm looking at them and I'm like, okay, trim next, then metal, horns, nails, like bits and bobs, like it breaking it down like that makes it feel manageable. It stops it being overwhelming. As soon as you're just looking at a whole model and you're like, this whole thing needs to be painted, for me, that a lot of the time that's where the freak out is.
Yeah, I could definitely see that because you're like, hey, I want to finish this piece, but there's so much I have to do to it.
Yeah.
What is
And
it? Eating elephant? It's like eating an elephant or something like that. How do you eat an elephant?
one back
one
Yeah.
bite at a time. Yeah. Yeah.
with a Slurpee straw.
A really big blender and a Slurpee straw.
There you go.
Yeah,
Got to
there
have
you
that
go.
blender.
Um,
Elephant margaritas for everybody.
yeah. And also,
Yeah, I was getting Elephant Rita.
when you break down those tasks, you can start fitting those tasks into much smaller windows, right? If you only have 10 minutes, 20 minutes before you go to work in the morning, or, half an hour in the evening before you go to bed, you can break down tasks small enough to be able to do that. If you're trying to batch paint a 20-person unit, right, stop and maybe do 5 men at a time, and then you can manage it. I think those are huge things. Oh. We have a Jody Rebel Johnson Cacciatore in the chat, who is representing North Bay Derby. So that is one of my Derby teammates jumping into the chat. So hey Jody.
Welcome.
Who I never
So
called
glad you're
Jody.
here.
So that's going to be super weird for her. Hello, Mama Catch.
There we go. Is this your Gravity Falls, right? Still?
I am Gravity Calls. Yeah. And
Gravity Calls.
yeah,
I got it. Yeah, the show was Gravity Falls. Your Gravity Calls.
That's right.
I got you.
That's a fun show.
It's a great show. I do love that show.
Yeah.
I think keeping those. The other thing that I feel is super important for this. I'm fortunate to basically have my paint set up the whole time, right? But having a way of getting everything you do set up and put away super fast, right? If you've got a small space, if you've got kids taking over the house or whatever, right? Like having something that's just like plonk it down, open it up, go, is invaluable for actually being able to get yourself painting, because as soon as it takes any degree of effort to get started, you've got another hurdle to overcome to actually do anything.
And that's part of that planning thing that you were
Dedicated
talking
hobby
about before.
space, yeah.
If you can dedicate
Yeah, that
hobby
makes a
space,
big-
it's great. But if you can't, and a lot of people can't, just having a kit, having some, sink $30-40 into, a box of some sort that you can keep everything together is big.
Well, yeah. If everything is organized and is ready for you. I'm more of have to have the right mood to paint.
Hmm.
So my environment has to be receptive to me to sit down and paint and concentrate, because unlike Mike, who can just paint anywhere, I have to have a very nice setup. But what I don't know how often Mike paints and how long he paints, but when I do, my sessions are super long, like 6 or 8 hours, and that's a lot of time for me to take out of a whole entire day. But having everything set up if I need to, like if I need to clean some flash off or something, or just paint some bases, if everything is ready and available for me, I could just jump in and do it and only spend a little bit of time if I have that little bit of time. So I get that. And it really does help to have a dedicated space. Like Mike has got a beautiful dedicated space down in the basement.
I have
It's got
never
a
once
whole
seen him
wall.
paint there. Yeah.
He's got a whole basement.
Yeah.
And nothing but all his paints and all of his nuggets and everything is down there. All his figures, but nope. Mike likes
Look,
it there in the kitchen.
what is my favorite thing to read and listen to? Horror fiction. I do not do well psychologically sitting in a basement by myself.
So
I just don't. I'm working on it. I actually you'll be happy to know I have been working on rearranging it and decreasing the amount of stuff that's in there, because I also feel like there's a lot of distraction. And so what I'm trying to do is move everything out of, because my basement's broken down into 2 rooms. Basically, there's a room and then there's a storage room. And I'm trying to get everything that's not an immediate project into the storage room. So, because man, I'm so easily distracted. I like bright shiny objects, dog with a poopy tail. Oh my God, I can't believe I've had this miniature for 25 years and I didn't even know I had it, because it was sitting in a box that I just found. You know what I mean? That I didn't even realize was part of the hobby box I had that my son found. So, of which I found another mini the other day, because I am cleaning partially while I'm down there too. So, yes, I have a great space that I can paint, and I am doing it what I do with the podcast, and I'm sitting here at the kitchen table, doing the show and painting. I
Maybe
don't know.
it's the atmosphere. Maybe it wouldn't be a creepy looking feeling basement if you like had lights or changed the color of the carpet or put hardwood in or something. Lighter, brighter, more festive colors would probably help the atmosphere be more conducive to painting, rather than waiting for someone to creep through your closet and kill you when you're trying to sleep.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. Yeah, certainly the environment. I've actually I started putting up the paintings I've had. Like I have a couple of Salvador Dali paintings, prints that are not painting. I've had the paintings, so would be rich. Prints and a couple of Van Gogh prints, and then one Christmas present I forgot to mention was my youngest got me a gorgeous the God, now I can't think of it. The clock, the famous watches one from Dali. Now my
Persistence
brain
of
is
time.
blank. Persistence of Time. Yes, she got me a beautiful print from the New York Metropolitan Museum of Art when they went on a New York trip right before Christmas, and so I need to put that up. And I have a couple of posters from Roman the Plot, and some stuff like all the stuff that uh, Banshee has taken my notebook a few times in classes and just painted and drawn in it, and I pulled those out. And so, yeah, I'm trying to make it a conducive space. So, like, especially in the context of where my work day is going to be so segmented from the rest of my day now, that it would be good to have a place that I could just go down, leave stuff out, not have to put every part. Part of what delays me sometimes, or will decrease the amount of time that I paint, is how long it takes me to set up. You're absolutely right. And so it'll be nice to go down, pick up a paintbrush, and just be able to go to town. You know what I mean? And I need to reconfigure how I set up painting my airbrush, painting with my airbrush as well. So.
Yeah, that's I think that's something that a lot of us that are of those folks that are going back into offices and not having dual use desk for your regular stuff and your work stuff, um, having not being tied down to a desk all the time. Maybe I'm not saying that right. My desk will no longer be a dual use desk. I don't need all the extra space where I keep all my binders and all my work and everything. So, uh, taking that clutter away on my end will help organize a little bit. But I get what you're saying, Mike, because you want to do everything. You're like, hey, I can just turn this off and turn this on. I'm still sitting here, and that's cool. But at some point, I won't be doing work from home, which is cool. And I can use this space just for hobbying and not thinking and just separating myself from the actual work. And it can just be turned into a hobby location again.
Yeah, and that's a super valuable thing to do, right? Because it does weigh on you when you're sat there and it's the same space where you're stressing out about work. It does
Mm-hmm.
detract from the enjoyment of being in that space, and therefore
Mm-hmm.
detracts from your painting in that space. Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm.
It makes a
And you
big
know,
difference.
um, one of the things that I'm going to be facing in a few years, and part of it, what I like about when I paint during the day, and I would say probably painting during the day is about 40% of my painting, like when everybody's up and moving and stuff along those lines. The rest of it is definitely after everybody's gone to bed, so that's not that much of a relevant question. But in the future, I'm gonna have not too long from now, I'm gonna wind up having an empty nest. You know, all three of my kids will be gone. Although they joke that my son is coming back after college, um, but I can talk to my wife and my daughter while I paint, and it doesn't take away from, you know what I mean? And there's times now where my daughter will sit when she comes home from school and I'm done with my work day, and she'll sit there and do homework while I paint, and we'll talk about her day and things along those lines. And so what I'm going to have to try to find is uh, when all the kids are out of the house, am I going to be able to do that and interact with? I don't want to lose the interaction with my family at the same time, you know. And it's I don't know if I'm making sense with what I'm saying.
So I'm just going to make fun because that's what I do. Um, so being an empty nester is nothing that you think it is because every stage of life we talk about journeys and stuff. There's always something new that, as you have kids that they're learning and doing. The relationships are probably still there, Mike. Different. They're different for sure. Um, but there's you're talking about like, well, maybe the connection, but what are you gonna do with with the free time and the free space? No, I haven't found any of that yet. No free time, no free space. I work harder, stress out more than when my kids were at home, and that
Yeah.
is probably because of certain personality traits. But most parents, if not all parents, have them. Someone said that in a thing. What was it they were saying about? They leave. Oh, the how. Oh, what was it? When kids leave the house, you have more stress in your life or something like that. But they were like making a joke about it, but it's totally right
Mm,
um, because of things. But Dev,
yeah.
you'll never know that because you don't have little chitlins yet, and then they won't move out of the house, so you don't get to go through all that. You don't get to go through that part of the journey, which is really fun and stressful.
There is only space for one child in this household, and it's me. So that's where we're at.
There you go.
It took me a little while to realize my wife kept saying she had four kids. And I'm like, how do I only have three and you have four? And I'm like, oh, I'm the fourth kid. My bad.
It ain't a
My
joke.
bad.
It ain't a joke.
And no joke. It's not. And it's not, you know, it's even, um, you know, because you in that empty nest world concept, you worry about how is that going to change your relationship with your partner too, right? So now that you don't have the kids in the house, that's going to change the dynamic of the household. And for my wife and I,
Mhm.
we only had her and I for living together for about 2 years. 1 year of that was married because my son came my firstborn is 3 days before my anniversary. So he was our first anniversary present to ourselves. We got a good Catholic award for that, by the way. I don't even know what that means. But so it's going to be, it's interesting that, like, because you never want to be in a situation where you look like you're choosing the hobby over the company of your partner. And so, um, yeah, I don't know.
No,
I don't
because
know where that came from. That's just random.
you're not quite there yet. You're close,
Mhm.
but it is a it's a big change. And one thing, I know we're totally getting off topic, but who cares? We're just trying to waste another 30 minutes so Mike can finish his painting for today. Um, well, so where I work, we're all about kind of the same age. So we have kids that are in college, and slowly every year or two there'll be a group that have, that become empty nesters. And so this year was our year to be anointed. There were three of us, and it's like to say like, hey, now you have to relearn who your partner is and relearn like how to live with them, because everything has been focused on the kids and making sure that they're being raised and fed and everything. And now you're like, oh, now do we remember why we started dating and stuff, and then making kind of connections like that. So we make an effort on our end, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We haven't changed a whole lot in the last 30 effing years. So it's not too bad, but you know, you totally forget about some of that stuff. So the hobby part, she has, Mel has her hobbies. My wife has her hobbies. So we can do our hobby time separately, and we do have a little bit more time. But again, it's still, um, that's the opposite. Now we have more time. What can we fill with that time now? But at the same time, I've been sitting in this chair for 15, 16 hours right now, and my back hurts. So I got to give a little bit because it's like, yeah, sure. We can go out and do some stuff. And no, body is aching. So I'm getting a little bit older in that. But she knows that she can go and just go paint for a couple hours if she wants to, or go read for a couple hours. And I can play my video games and kill things, or I can stare at all my miniatures. And, however I choose to find my space and to find my time.
Think about not painting
I
them.
still,
Yeah.
I still
I
think it's
think
just
about not painting a lot.
hilarious. I think it's hilarious that it took her that long to find the minis in your like cabinet in your TV room.
We
Like,
talk
I'm
about
talking
that
about
here.
like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Have
you
we talked
did,
about that on the
you
show?
did
Yeah,
Because
we did.
a
yeah, that was
little
pretty
bit.
funny.
So I'm like, she just did not pay attention or probably looked at it and was like in denial. Um,
She still hasn't made any comment about the gigantic bamboo box that's sitting right next to the bathroom that I haven't opened up yet, but I will be opening it up. I was supposed to do it last week, but a new season opened up with Diablo, so I'm trying to level up. So it's a lot of fun
Right.
though. And then I learned how to properly use my character, so now my fingers don't hurt when I'm trying to play this stupid thing.
It's really funny. My brother is a little bit older, and he's 3 years older than me. And so sometimes I'll call him, and then I'll get a text from him, "Call you tomorrow, killing Nazis." And I'm like, "What the?" For like, I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And he's like playing some World War II game where he's like, "I
Yep.
was just on," he's 55 years old, and he's like, just online, it's a bunch of 13-year-olds and I from the Philippines were hunting Nazis in World War II, and I'm like, all right,
Yeah. I'm like,
you enjoy that.
I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna go out and I gotta go kill some things, and she'd be like, I don't like the way you say that. I'm like, you know exactly what I'm doing. You sit and listen to me yell and scream at the computer all the time. You know what it is.
Um,
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to pivot. I was going to suggest we talk about what we've been working on.
Sure.
Oh, let me just throw. I was going to throw one thing out just really quickly as a follow up to Dan. It's one of the reasons I don't game anymore. So when was gaming back on the PlayStation 3, I developed. Actually, I'm still friends with all these people. I've never actually met any of them in real life, but I wound up kind of falling in with this gamer group, and we started on Fall of Cybertron, and then War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron, and then when
What the
PlayStation
crap
4
kind
we
of game
moved
is
on to
that? Is that a Transformers game?
it most certainly is a Transformers
Or
game, and should not be shocking to anybody that I was a big Transformers person. Um, but then we moved on to Overwatch, and then another. I can't remember what the other game was. It didn't last very long, but although I don't game anymore, I still chat with them from time to time and such. It's really kind of funny. But um, when I wasn't playing with them, I was quiet. But the second I got on with them, because you're in here talking shit to everyone, like, and it was all good fun. We're all like chewing each other out and having a good time. But the number of times my wife would come downstairs, I'm trying to sleep. God damn it. So it had to decrease the way my house is and where the TV is. I can't really do that because it's literally the bedroom is right below where the TV is. So it kind of limited my ability to get into gaming because I don't get that emotional. I have to be like, you son of a mother, like cussing under my breath. And they're like, what? You waking up your wife? What?
so just to put this in perspective, everybody, Mike thinks he's a quiet person. And he
Oh,
gets
no, I never said that. I never said that.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
We'll have to play some
I see
games. I like to really see what Mike is like when he's talking a lot and yelling and screaming.
Oh, you haven't heard, like, I got in trouble for like, my wife's like, I can't believe what I just heard came out of your mouth. And I'm like, and then I had to, like, backtrack for a second. I'm like, oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure
Probably
that's where all
shouldn't
my
have said
kids
that
learned
out loud.
all my cuss words.
Yeah.
All right, so what was this pivot there, Dev?
What have you been working on,
what are we
Dan?
working on?
Yeah.
Well, I already told you I've been playing season 7 of Diablo 4.
Cool.
And thinking about painting like I always do.
Okay. What are you thinking about painting this week?
Let's see. I was still doing the truck.
Oh yeah, right.
And what was the
Is
other?
the truck still
there
in
was one-
pieces?
It is, but I washed them to
Okay.
make sure they get all the
Good.
oils
Yeah.
and everything off of it.
Yeah.
I dried them, and I actually did a good inspection to make sure that the pieces aren't like really weird with like mold lines. Because prepping for scale models is different than prepping for scale figures. I think. I mean, they still have mold lines, but I think it's the process is just a smidge different.
Yeah.
In a way. So just making sure that I don't have that like those weird lines and things like that. Because it's a vehicle, which I haven't painted a vehicle like this in decades. But I'm still looking forward to that. And thinking about pulling down some of my other anime figures to start prepping those and getting those ready too.
Are these like 3D prints, or are they like the
No, these are just regular
collector's vinyl ones?
Bandai and
Oh,
stuff
okay.
like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Not Gundams, but other
Okay.
things.
Yeah.
So fun. Let's see, what else did I do? I did pull out my tubes of scale 75 paints last week. I can't remember why, but I did bring them out and I was using them for something, but I can't remember what it was.
Cool.
It was model related. And then I did clean off my desk. But I can't remember if that was last week or the week before.
I have heard you say that you cleaned off your desk as your hobby element for multiple times over the last few months.
Okay, so I just sit there and it's clean the desk. So maybe I'm just recycling it because I walk by it, it's clean. I'm like, holy crap, I must have cleaned that really good. And then I thought I did it last week. I'll be sure that I tell you next week that I clean my desk again. But I'll have a different desk since I don't have the multi-use desk anymore. I will be trying to change that, and we'll have updates next week if I do anything with that or not.
Yeah, cool. Mike's
know what Mike
Mike's
is
in the
doing.
Mike's in the middle of painting, so I'm gonna do my favorite thing of not showing any of the other guys what it is that I've been working on, because I'm just gonna show it direct to the audience if I can get the camera working, which apparently I cannot. So let's see if I can fix that. Apparently I cannot. That's awesome. Oh. Alright. Technical problems. Oh.
Well, we have that little thing.
Technical problems are
At this
Dev
time.
can't remove a lens cap, apparently, so that's great. Well done, Dev. Ah, dear. No.
Dev, have you ever listened to the Magnus Archives?
I have not listened to Magnus Archives.
One of the main writer on this show, while he doesn't sound like you, he has the same kind of. You remind me of him, the cadence of the way he talks about writing, and like I don't know, it's. Yeah, no kidding. You're very British of it, but it's just the way he, I don't know, the way he talks reminds me of you.
Okay.
That's not a bad thing. I mean, he's a great writer, so.
You will have to send me a link, and I will have to check it out.
Okay.
All right. Let's see if I can get this working. Oh, I definitely cannot get that working. That's kind of terrible.
Boo.
Yeah, really. Big on the booze. Because
Well, I'm glad I wasn't needed for OBS today.
trying to hold it up against the thing kind of sucks, but I guess that's what we're doing. Okay, I guess that's what we're doing. All right, so mostly I've been working on these guys. Oh, we almost got focused there. Come on, try again. So these are Skaith's Wild Hunt. I'm still on a bit of a Warhammer Underworlds kick after saying that I was going to paint Relic Blade this year. I kind of added Warhammer Underworlds to it. And these were from an old starter set. As I said, came out like 2018, 2019, something like that. And the other half were a kind of Beastmen group that I actually painted in some online classes with Sam Lenz. He was teaching me wet blending. But this half of the box never really got touched. I did a few of them, bits here and there. But I never actually got particularly far. And so I'm kind of psyched to be actually working on them this time. And they're coming along. The sculpts don't really speak to me. I quite like the fawn legs, and I like the greens, but there's a lot of trim, and trim is just annoying to paint. So yeah, I mean they're coming along. They're coming along. But I will be excited once they're done and I can move on to another one. I have several warbands that are still on sprue as well, so if I'm not wanting to sit at my table and actually paint, I've been assembling some of those and getting them ready to be painted. And my goal for this year is still, I think, roughly on target to try and get all my Warhammer Underworlds painted up and all of my Relic Blade painted up. And if I can get both of those games fully painted by the end of the year, I'll be pretty happy.
I know you're saying Underworlds, but every time I hear you say it, it sounds like Warhammer underwear.
Aren't you wearing your Warhammer underwear?
I mean, I feel like that would not go good places because they're going to do chaos themed underwear.
I'm saying you haven't tried on your Slanesh underoos yet.
I've got. I just have a tendency to go Hatachan Commando.
You know they would sell that air guitar, right? Like they would absolutely sell that air guitar.
For sure. Why not? Okay. What can you say what that warband was again that you're painting? Because I like my brain's not processing the name of it.
Skaith's Wild Hunt.
Ace Wild Hunt. Thank you. Okay.
Yep.
I don't know what I thought. I'm not sure what my brain was saying you were saying, but it sometimes my brain doesn't work.
It's the Skaith in particular is like Skaeth. It's a weird word.
Mm-hmm. What race are they?
So that's an interesting question because there is no actual like Warhammer army race that matches these. I think they're meant to be like a kind of subsection of wood elves or whatever wood elves have turned into, like Alariel's groupies. But they're kind of, the top half is elf and the bottom half is either like a faun, like very like pan fey kind of thing, or one of them is a centaur dude.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
So
okay, I have seen that. I have seen that model before. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's
I
the
wasn't sure
most that's the most iconic of the ones that are in this warband is definitely this dude. The other ones are just like fawny creatures that are like leaping and prancing about. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a wood elf underworlds box that I got in one of the goodie bags that I can't convention goodie bags.
Mhm.
I don't remember which year it was or what convention it was, but they're really nice models. I actually like those are the ones where like they're the half ghost coming out of the wood, you know, like kind of the spectral half wood, half elf type things.
Yeah.
But very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, all of those warbands that Warhammer Underworlds has are gorgeously sculpted. They come with sculpted bases. They're not completely open models like a lot of Games Workshop models. There's quite a lot of details and gribbly bits. But you don't have to think too hard about painting them. You can kind of just slap chop them and they come out looking pretty good.
Well, some of the Stormcast ones, I look at the models and I love them. I know you're not a fan of the Stormcast, but then you go to paint them and they have these kind of void areas where, you know what I mean? Like it's that bottom of a detail.
Mm-hmm.
Dan is asleep. Apparently we put Dan to sleep. It looked like Dan's eyes were closed. Like, dang it, we did it again.
Yeah.
You know, that's really sad because when was it? It was after Adepticon last year. I went to work and we had a string of meetings and my boss asked me if I fell asleep. And I was like, no, it's my eyes. Like,
he's just resting his eyes. Yeah.
No, I have very small eyes. So I'm staring at Mike paint and I'm watching Dev fall asleep, but I'm not asleep.
What is Mike painting? What has Mike been painting? Is it perchance a commission that we thought was finished last week?
He probably talked about it earlier, but we couldn't hear him on his mic.
So, commission has been mostly done. I was just going through this. I knew my delivery day was tomorrow. And so I've just kind of been going back some of the stuff I hadn't touched for a long time. And you know how stuff might get damaged or dusty or what. So I was cleaning things up and I found a few models that I wanted to do a little touch up on that it was between the 60 pirates and the 18 Lord of the Rings and the ship. That's 78 models plus right there. And so I kind of went back through the pirates and there was 4 or 5 that I wanted to touch up. And I thought I had finished Blackbeard as the very first test model. And there were a couple of areas on him that I had not finished. And so that is what I did. I've been doing. And so This is Blackbeard. I don't think you can get a great picture of him, but he is now two things left on him. I need to edge highlight his sword and then just re-black the base, and he is done. And delivery will be set for tomorrow. And I will try to get some pics before I take him over, but that is low priority because I got a lot going on tomorrow. And so I'm really excited to be done with that. I want to go back, and the next thing on my list is to finish my vampire bust. I realized I hadn't done 2 parts of the gold trim on him yet, and so the non-metallic, I'll be doing that. And then very excited to get back to my Steel Rift guys.
More commissions.
50%. Steel Rift isn't a commission. I want to finish my Steel Rift guys because I want to bring them to the Richmond ODO. And so,
okay.
That and the Vampire Bust are my 2 main. Whatchamacallit?
When's
are
that?
Be my 2
When's it?
entries.
What date is that? Is that mid-February?
That's February. I think it's 22nd or 23rd is the Richmond Old Dominion Open, and then the next weekend is the retreat.
Yeah.
We got a late entry from Bill, aka Birdcart, who was pointing out that it was not very visible Blackbeard on that screen. But what I was seeing, it gave me definite Insane Clown Posse vibes with the face. So I think that's really
works.
not focusing or capturing much light.
I guess Mike's gonna have to get a new camera now too.
I have a new camera. I just can't figure out how to disable the microphone on that camera in order to use that and use the new microphone. So I'll figure it out.
You can do it through.
How much does a pirate pay for corn? About a buccaneer. Anyways, sorry.
All right. I think that's the time for us to sign off.
What's a pirate's favorite movie rating?
Of course.
We are definitely going to have to host this stream in September. In September, I believe is when National Speak Like a Pirate Day is. I'm totally down for it. I'm going to have to look it up because watch, it's not even going to be September. It's going to already be past or something like that. And I'm going to be like, damn it, I have to wait another year.
Yeah, probably.
So.
All right.
Well, thank you to all the people who have joined us today. We greatly appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and follow wherever you get your podcasts, and wherever, if you could hit the likes, smash the notifications, throw crap at your computer, leave a comment, we'd greatly appreciate it. What was that old phrase, the word of mouth marketing? If you tell 2 friends and they tell 2 friends and 2 friends from there, that's probably the largest way to grow either a YouTube or a podcast. So we greatly appreciate y'all.
Yeah. And remember to use Paintception to become a better, braver, happier painter.
Oh, and check out Raggy Paints YouTube channel. He's been posting videos on it.
That is true.
Live streaming.
I am capturing much of my Warhammer Underworld's painting journey on YouTube if you want to check that out. There are some random pointless skits mixed in there as well.
Nice.
And I'm going to cut before Dan can say see ya. So see ya.